When you like call creators only talent, it strips them from the agency, it infantilizes them. Oh, this is the talent, it's gonna come here like a little monkey.
You recently said it's the fall of fame. We are in the post-viral era.
It's like a hot take. They want to be famous, they want to get those followers. We want sugar dads, like sugar brands.
Welcome to Multi-Hyphenate University, your campus for magical creative entrepreneurs and artists building their biggest dreams. I'm Margaret, your housemate on campus, fairy god professor, and fellow multi-hyphenate. Let's dive into this week's episode. Bia Granja, welcome to Multi-Hyphenate University. So it works great against the black.
No, I'm gonna keep it as a look. I think it's working.
I think it should be sort of like a stick-on glitter. Okay, Bia Granja, you are the founder of youPIX, which was the biggest consultancy, accelerator, and conference in Latin America, correct?
Yeah.
And you sold that last year and are now an independent contractor. You talk about the creator economy. You are fabulous. You are hilarious. I love reading your work.
Thank you.
And it has been a joy to get to know you, and I'm excited to jump in today. There's basically a lot of questions I want to ask you about stuff you've been writing about lately, about the creator economy, and then do a little bit of basically coaching with me being the conduit as a new creator of how to think about this space now. So
All right.
you recently said it's the fall of fame. We are in the post-viral era. I'm actually really curious to hear you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's like a hot take because everybody's kind of like seeking that. Like everybody jumps on social media. They want to be famous. They want to get those followers. But I kind of feel like that game is a bit like exhausted, because right now it's so hard because everybody's a creator, everybody's an influencer. I think like this skill, like this thing that we were doing like 20 years ago, now is a skill that even like CEOs have to have. I was reading the other day, like venture capitalists should like be hiring creators to run their communications and everything is creator. So like being a creator, like being a person that creates content and creates like a business or like boost the business or like create a community around it, it's kind of like everywhere. So it's crowded, it's hard. And I think like people already kind of games the language. Don't you think? Like we go like online, like on social media, and everybody's kind of like saying the same things and using the same hooks and the same triggers. And tell me about it, right?
hooks.
If you think I'm right, like if you relate,
Hot
please.
take.
Yeah, it's not really hot. It's just like
I'm like, that's one of the hooks, though. They're like the 5 things that you won't believe.
Yeah.
Hot take. I have a theory that
I'm
blah,
so
blah.
tired of things that I've been doing wrong. What am I doing? My existence is wrong, so I can't deal with that anymore. And I think like this triggers. They're like cognitively, people are just like so tired and they get it. So it's not new, And I think like people that overdo it, like searching like for that fame and the followers and like let's beat the algorithm and Mark Zuckerberg and whatnot, I think they're going after like the wrong thing. And I think what people really kind of like started digging now is like this kind of connection, I mean, we've seen it everywhere, like the intentional spaces, like even like Nike, the biggest like manager, like creator manager company, just bought like experiential, like an events company, because like the IRL, like people in real life that they might not be famous, but they're like these community leaders, like they're in right now. They are people that are curating the spaces, they bring the taste. I mean, they're helping us navigate through this world that's all like overloaded with everything, information, content, triggers and hooks and AI slop and memes and, So I think it's not that fame is not going to be important, but I think there's another way now of existing online, and it's beautiful. It's like almost like nature is healing. Nature is healing, guys. Let's try something else. I think it's time.
I am thinking about, as you're saying this, because I've been thinking about this a lot. So my career has, in theory, followed a nonlinear path, but I had someone reflect back to me at one point. They were like, if you actually look at the arc of your career, you've just followed the marketing world through what were the trends. So originally I was in photography and social media, and that was back when Instagram was just photos, right? And I was very deep. I missed that time too. Deep in that space, and that so much lower effort. And then I ended up learning about psychology a lot, and then I ended up in experiences and community, and I was in community the last 5 years, and then I felt called into the creator space and podcasting, because now the new frontier is everyone wants someone in front of the camera. So like all the job descriptions for social media managers now are like, we expect you to be an on-air personality.
Yes.
And I almost feel like what's happening with both podcasting and, I'm curious if you agree, podcasting and social media is like where you used to go to someone's website. It feels like that is now the equivalent in a totally new format of the first look at someone.
Yes, I mean, we're always like choosing our like doctors and like marketing managers and whatever, if like through their social media presence, you know. I think that's a bit reductionist in a way, you know, because I think a lot of people there are not good in camera. Like me, for example, I'm terrible. I don't like doing it. I like to write. That's why you only found my like written stuff. You know, I like that form because I can go deeper. You know, I can explain more. Because what kind of idea can you like transmit in 90 seconds? You know, like the length of like people get so bored after 10 seconds. So I think, right?
The fishbowl, or what is it? The goldfish memory.
Yeah, like 6 seconds,
Yeah.
4 seconds. I mean, I have a 12-year-old kid and I see like the way he behaves. I failed as a mother. He's on social media, he's consuming shorts. So I know that. Don't judge me. But I think that's like the whole generation that kind of learned like to behave and navigate the world through like 10-second stimulus, you know, like the dopamine high. So I think we need to like, I see things. I mean, I've been doing this for so long, like, you know, you've been to that and then it's community and then it's event and then it's not anymore and then it's video. Now we're going back to events and back to community. But like being in this thing like for 20 years, I think it doesn't matter the format. I mean, if you stick to like a format that is true to you and that you can like really transmit what you know and help people out, I think you're going to be good. You know, I've been doing this for 20 years without video. Really, it was hard to find probably like me in video, and it's all good. I mean, things are happening, and the kind of connection and the kind of feedback and the kind of conversations that I get, like from people that read my newsletter or even like LinkedIn, which is a social media right now, social network, but it's still a bit different because it's more corporate, so people are still there a bit to exchange between them. I think there's a way to do it like differently, you know. You don't. I want to call. I mean, I want to. My hot take is like you don't need to do video now. You know.
That is a hot take.
That is a hot take because everything revolves around video.
Yeah.
I mean, video can be like a byproduct, you know, if you like said like this conversation.
Right.
Like the podcasts are now video casts, which is just like an interview in video, right? So we create like this new term.
I feel like we keep recreating the same, like podcasts are now going to Netflix and I'm like, so it's a TV show.
Yeah, it's like now Netflix. I mean, we just heard
and Netflix is a channel. Like,
yeah. I mean, so is it the same thing? I think we keep like renaming things. It's the same with like the micro drama trend. Oh my God, everything now is a micro drama. Let's do micro drama.
Oh, yeah. yes.
You know, like the mini soap operas. I mean, Brazil is crazy about soap operas, so everybody knows. That's for us. It's just like, it's just like a soap opera online on social media. So I think like we're trying to come up with these new names and trends. Just to go back to the thing that matters is that like, which is like the connection. It's like why you're doing this, what people are getting out of your content, you know. For me, that's like the job to be done of your content. Like, it's the most important thing. And that's what been keeping like alive in digital, which is like very, you know, for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, I'm talking.
No. I'm it's really interesting. I've been thinking about this idea too of like, it's like, what's the kind of attraction there? And I think we just see so many people who hit it big overnight or are suddenly making like that one girl who did the like, I'm looking for a man in finance, you know, whatever. She made this random video, like totally random throwaway video that overnight suddenly made her, I think I heard over $1 to $2 million. And so it's almost like a reiteration of the American dream or like this sort of larger global dream of like, maybe there's this world where I can get paid to be myself and not be dragged into the work and like have this magical space to express and be an artist.
Yeah, and I think that goes with like the moment of the world. Like everywhere is in crisis. The economy is not very good anywhere. So I kind of think like this younger generation, they understood that maybe like that kind of job, like old school, like go to like 5 to 9 to 5, etc. thing is not happening anymore. So they are like starting to look for something that works. But what I don't like about it is that like instant fame kind of thing, you know, because I mean, yeah, you can get famous. The is there like to reward those kind
The
of
dope.
things.
I think of the slot machine. I you know this, but I went viral for the first time this weekend, and
I know, yeah.
yeah, it was very cool. I've worked in other people's brands, so I've had content of mine go viral under someone else's brand, but this was the first time it was like my face, my voice, and it was actually about my mission and story. It wasn't like a random throwaway. So that was very cool. Yeah, right. Thank you. But the interesting thing was just witnessing the the experience of it, where I'm like, this is literally. I feel like I'm in a casino at a slot machine, and every time I'm pulling, I'm just getting the hit because I open my Instagram and it's like 1,000 new likes, 200 new comments, and I'm just like, ah.
Yeah, but then what happens? When that doesn't go viral, like, what did I do wrong? It's like, no, it's like a very like crazy health, like
it's a weird drug.
It is a drug. That's why I said dopamine high, because you're high and then you're not, and then you want your fix. So I think it's super problematic, isn't it? But the thing is, I mean, seeing how creators like come to be online and what they're searching for, most of them are like that. I just want to be myself and create content, and something is gonna happen. The brands are gonna notice me. I feel like we want sugar dads, like sugar brands, because I just want to live my life.
Sorry, that's such a good quote. We don't need sugar daddies anymore. We need sugar brands.
Sugar brands. I just want to live my life, and then the brands will sponsor it.
Like, why don't I have a confetti sponsor? It's rude,
right? Exactly. Please, confetti. So. But I think that's a bit naive, and I don't think that's how things work anymore online, So you're not going to be paid to exist anymore. I mean, this girl, like the 5-7 trust fund. I mean, it was hilarious. She made like those instant 2 million, which is good money. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
But also, what is she building after that? Is it like just a one-hit creator thing?
I think that's the really interesting thing I've been noticing is the one-hit wonders versus... And what does that do to your psyche when that happens over it? Like, it's fascinating.
And
bizarre alternate reality.
Bizarre, and there are a lot of cases like that, like the Hawk Talk girl that she had a podcast, and then everything was happening. Then she had like her own meme coin, and that like flopped, and then she was like, police was after her, and then she's nowhere to be found anymore. So she's trying to surf this wave, but I think it's a wave, not like a sustainable thing that you're building. So that's the difference for me. I think people who only search like fame, seek that fame, they might end up like the Six Fund, like the Trust Fund girl or the Hawk Toise, I don't think fame is out of like, it's not an option, but it is good only if you're like using it as a top of funnel.
Right, it should be the root.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, now like, I got famous, I got a lot of awareness, so a lot of top of the funnel, like attention and people. So what do I do with them after that? And that's like where most creators or influencers, whatever, fail. They don't have a strategy.
Right. How do you think about that in terms of what is the strategy? So I was thinking about this weekend where I'm like, okay, I worked with a coach who would always say that fame is the resource of people's attention. So to your point, you can then direct it and flow it. And so I had this moment where I was like, oh crap. Where am I flowing people to? Like, I wasn't quite prepared for that because I guess I'm flowing people to the podcast because my dream would be to have this be the center of an income source, which is obviously very challenging. And but it's interesting to think about once you have that attention, if you're not prepared or you're not someone, I've had 12 years of business experience and community building experience. So that's not new to me, but if you're someone who doesn't have that,
exactly,
like, what is your goal in the creator game if you're coming in as a new creator?
No, I think you gotta really. I think having worked with a bunch, like thousands of creators, like during like this past 20 years, all of them, what they lack is like planning. If you think I didn't want to like drop this name here, but like Mr. Beast. I'm not going to talk about his business, because I think that's what came after, but he had a very good plan for his audience building strategy. He wanted audience, he wanted like to go viral, and then everything that came after it, he had operators, he had people who helped him like really strategize that and create a bunch of business, but he had a plan, and it can be as basic as like, I'm just here for the top of the funnel, and I'm gonna like understand what's gonna happen after. But I don't think that's like at the table for everybody anymore. So what I would do if I was a creator is like try to build your own space, a space where you have like direct contact, like the emails of the people that follow you. I wouldn't just be using social media as the end game. I would use it as a vehicle to get people to like someplace else. So for example, we're talking about your podcast. Where are people going? when they're like, is it like, do you have a website? Is it just like you? So you're collecting their email,
Yeah.
like you. So that's really smart, you know. So you got this attention. It's
But
all
even
like
that, I feel like I'm early on like capitalizing on pulling the owned, like the owned versus borrowed media.
Yeah, because I mean, we don't have a lot of, I think, models for that, good examples, you know, because when we look at the stories that come out, they're always like the superlative stories, right?
Right,
Like the Mr. Beast, and now he's so big that he can do whatever he wants, you know, and that really doesn't help like the middle class or like the beginners, you know, because it's like, okay, so I go from zero to Mr. Beast, like we're lacking like this whole like journey.
I had there's someone from iHeart Radio who I had met with, and he said to me like, there's this misnomer of everyone looks at the Call Her Daddies and is like, again, the 0 to 120 million MO. And he's like, you realize there's a lot of successful podcasters who make like 500,000 a year, 300,000 a year. That's nothing to scoff at either. And I was like, oh, right. Yeah. Like, yeah, there's different levels.
No, there's different levels. And I think that's a community thing. So you don't need always fame as a business model. You can have others. So for example, we have a bunch of people here at the Lighthouse where we are members. It's a creator economy campus. So we see it all the time. People like raising money. The guy, like he has like a woodwork channel and he has only like 400,000. It's only because it's not even like $1 million, but he raised $2 million, and people buy from him because they freaking trust him until they you know, they go everywhere with him. And he's selling tools and like things that, of course, wood things, etc. So I think that trust, you don't need 1 million followers, you don't need 2 million followers to have like a good business. You know, and he's probably happier than Mr. Beast. I was just,
I totally, I'm like, can we say this? But I'm like, having worked with, so I was an executive coach for a bit and I was running communities for entrepreneurs. And I have found there's different flavors of the entrepreneurial spirit. And there are some who have that MO if they just want to make an infinite amount of money forever. I don't feel that way. Like, I'm like, I have my own goals around I just want to like live a nice life, be able to like add some joy to my family's life, like whatever. I don't need some infinite 1 billion plus, you know, whatever. And I find that often those people I a little bit struggle to vibe with because it feels like there's a lot of other underlying stuff going on there, right? Because you have to have been through some serious trauma and other stuff to have that desire to seek infinitely.
Do you think? Like, tell me about it.
I think a lot of
only
being an entrepreneur,
people can get to.
No. This is what there's different flavors. Yeah, a little, but there is a little bit of who hurt you. I had an entrepreneur friend and I would talk about this where he was like, yeah, I wonder about like, can anyone become an entrepreneur who hasn't been through some serious stuff? In the sense that it really is a different way. Yeah, I'm including creators in this because I think either way you're breaking the norm, and to actually break the norm is very scary and very weird, and there's no path, there's no map, like you don't know what the hell you're doing, to the point of like, how do I get to Mr. Beast level? So you start looking at the big people because that's the only path laid out. I think it's really interesting as a side that Syracuse just launched a creator MBA. Did you hear about this?
No.
Syracuse is like the first university to launch an actual creator department where they're now taking that seriously and giving you a track of how to, which I think is something that's lacking right now.
Yes, amazing.
It's just sort of this amorphous world, and people are like, is it the blonde girl wandering around being like, you've been asking me about my skincare routine, and everyone's like, I don't want to do that.
No, nobody wants that anymore.
But how do you learn the business side of it and all that? So, I think there is something to some people are looking to find a different way to live because the way they were perhaps raised or what they experienced in their environment didn't make them happy or feel seen or fulfilled. Like, definitely being a creator, one of the cool parts I've experienced is getting to say my own story in my own words, in my own environments. Like, you get to create your own universe that other people then step into versus being in other people's worlds all the time.
I love that. No, I really love that. And I haven't thought of like entrepreneurship like that because I've been an entrepreneur like for 20 years and I'm like, who hurt me? What? No, but I it's funny that you say that because I was going back. My kid, he's he's having this entrepreneurship block at his school. And he came up to me the other day. He said, Mom, what is success? I have to write about it. And that's like a major freaking question.
Major.
Like
nobody asked me that until I was 23. And the first time I got asked it, I was like, I don't know.
Exactly. And he's 12 and he's asking me these things. And I'm like, shit, I wish he had asked me how baby is like to be, like it would be easier.
Easy questions.
Easy questions, come on. But it was so interesting because, the moment I started talking, I said, well, there's not like only one way of like looking at this. He was like, okay, I'm bored. I don't want to hear anymore. But then like we had a very good conversation, but because I think like there's a lot of different motivations for you to be an entrepreneur. And there are a lot of different things that drive you through that path. And the interesting thing is that those things can change during that path.
Totally.
Totally. And I was thinking about that because I just exited my company that I founded and led for 20 years. And I was remembering when I was talking to him that the moment I started to make a lot of money, I got very unhappy.
Interesting. Tell me more.
No, because I think like before that, what was driving me was like I don't like the word purpose. I think that's such like an empty word. But like I started working with creators because of the thing you said, like people for the first time, they had a voice and they had an audience for the voice because you had a voice always, but like you're being in the street, like yelling, hey, right? So then
anyone.
So distribution came, I think the audience is super important. And that's what drove me to like start like starting my business because I think it's so beautiful to have like so many different backgrounds and people talking about stuff. Before that, I come from an analogic time, I had like 4 sources of information, my parents, my teachers, the encyclopedia, the media, what else, like 4, like you could count in one hand. And then suddenly when the blogs came, like in the beginning, like late 90s, beginning of the 2000s, with one question, I had so many different answers, like, oh my God, so this person thinks like this and that thinks like that. And my world, like, it expanded so much, for me, it was like mind blown kind of thing. And I think that's beautiful. And that's why I started like to work with creators. And I don't know, I was like a user, a consumer of blogs and the internet culture and the memes. And I thought that was really revolutionary because everything before that was super top down. It was like you said, you had to like go inside whatever world somebody like with this bias built and da-da-da. It was super limited. And I think like what drove me to like start my business was that. Man, this is the counterculture, I'm a hippiepreneur.
Love that. That's why we're friends.
I'm trying to coin that.
This is like I'm fairypreneur, you're hippiepreneur. I love that.
Love that. So
my
like
people.
different kind of entrepreneurs. But I think we're like the thing, And so like for a long time that was it. And I could see the legacy that I was building, people that were like attending my acceleration programs or the events or everything. They were like, oh my God, this thing changed my life. I met the first brand that I worked with at your event. I met my wife at your event. No, I've been invited to so many weddings.
Oh my God.
I didn't go because like, this is so cute. Thank you so much. But you do your wedding, because if I were to like get the first like salary or like a fee or like the first kid of everybody that met or connected like to the business in my event, I'll be very rich and with a lot of kids, But that's beautiful. And that drove me for a long time, like we're building a community here. People are really like being seen and they're doing stuff and they're growing and they're learning and they're thriving, I'm pro creator economy, and that's my thing. And I think what happens if you're like focused too much on the money, you're pro the money. You're pro whatever you're getting out of the creator economy or the business or whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
And the moment that became true to me, it kind of became dull. It was the most uninspired entrepreneurship that I ever did in my life, because money is good. And it's like, oh my God, I can do this amazing thing that I love and make this kind of money. I want more. It's super easy. It is a little drug also. Like dopamine, money, and it buys things and it get you places. And I was like, this is good. Can I scale that? Can I make it bigger? And then you like start with like, if the money is the driver, money is infinite because money is a concept, right? The whole economy, like financial system is like a cloud. Let's not go into that. But so I think for me, it's a bit like, it was a bit uninspiring.
How did you recenter yourself once you...
I did not. I sold my company.
Oh, that was when you sold. Oh,
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
How has the experience been coming out of that then?
Oh, wow. A journey. No, I mean, it's actually been interesting because I think like the other part of like success for me is the legacy. And I think I did leave a legacy. And I think that company that's still going is amazing.
Hmm.
And it has like a role in that market, in that industry, like to help it grow. It's still like going strong. And it has its purpose, its mission, but it doesn't need me there
Hmm.
because I'm now ready to do some other things that like Brazil is not ready yet. But like for Brazil, for like that picture, like
Yeah.
instant picture of, I mean, it's still amazing. So it's a lot of like, it really hurt. I mean, we're going deep here, but I think it's an interesting thing to think if you're a creator and what you're building, because sometimes you just have like to let go and detach and understand when is your time to step down,
Yeah.
when you're needed, when you're like contributing to the company like in a positive way, and when you're just like, we're making money, this is working, we don't need to innovate,
Yeah.
that's what happened with me. This is really working still. Like, there's a lot of demand. Like,
Yeah.
people are buying, like, whatever,
Right.
like consultancy, events, acceleration. I mean, things were thriving. And I think that was the best time, like, for me to exit and try new things.
I love that. Wow, dude.
Wow.
I also, just hearing you talk about your business too, I think a lot about, and I don't know if you view it this way, but to me, entrepreneurship and the reason I love working with and speaking to creative entrepreneurs is I see the whole thing as an art medium. And I feel like people can get really down the business serious brain, but I'm like, it's your art. And so when I hear you talk about your business, I really hear your artistry in it. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I always use a weaving metaphor, but I'm like, you wove together this whole very colorful, clearly world of your own universe. And yeah, that's very interesting.
It's
And then
super
to say,
interesting.
what's your next art project, right? Like, that's a
Wow.
weird experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually my next project is just like doing a lot of stuff. I don't want
Yeah.
to commit to one thing. I
Yeah.
mean, I've been working with a lot of different people in a lot of different projects and really
Mhm.
seeing myself in roles that I've never imagined because I was so
Love.
stuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually been amazing. I think it's awakening. But I want to like kind of go back to a
Yeah.
little bit to what you're saying about like it being an art and you
Mhm.
as an artist. Because for me, I think that's the most important mindset change that the creator needs to have
I agree.
to be able to really create a business.
I had this moment where I was out on a walk. I want to hear more on your thoughts there. I've been a photographer since I was a kid, and I had my camera with me and I had my phone. And I just had this weird moment where I took a photo of this forest I was in, and then I pulled out my phone and took a video, and I was like, God, it's so weird how when it's my camera, I know that would be identified, and if someone saw me taking the photo as more art. But the second it's my phone, it's like, oh, you roll your eyes. And I'm like, I don't know why we view the creator and the world of, this is such a hot take, but I hate the term content and content creation. It feels very reductionist. It's true well, there's some slop out there,
It's
like
just
you
a thing
said.
you do, right?
Right.
It's
But
not
I think
the
there,
definition. I'm sorry.
yeah, no. You're like, I think there is real artistry and that gets lost in the just sort of giant framing of content creation.
I agree. We lost the craft, but that goes back to what we were talking about in the very beginning. It became like a language, a skill that everybody like kind of develops and dominates and puts out there. Where is the beauty of like where
Yeah.
is the I think that craft, that thing that really like why you're here, why are you creating this world, and it means so much to you and to other people that can like that relate and can be part of it. And then of course you can build amazing things. I don't want to be naive, like, oh, she's too much of a hippie. And I don't think it's about that, but I think everyone, like even on people that are like the audiences, people consuming the content, they're not being touched. If I ask, like, I've asked a bunch of people, about it, like, what was the last thing that you saw that really, like, it was memorable to you? Like, it made you, like, oh, I talked about it. Like, I remember. I mean, because we forget about things, or we regret about the things that we're consuming online, right? So what is memorable?
You and I were at the ManyChat conference, and there was that great quote about the forgettable minutes,
Yeah, from
regrettable
Colin
minutes,
Samir.
and then I forget what the third one was.
Forgettable, regrettable, and memorable.
Memorable. And I have thought about that so much, which is the
Yeah.
idea of if someone were to ask you, if you just spent an hour scrolling Instagram or TikTok, which obviously like half the world does, if someone were to ask you, what is it? Tell me about one video that you saw. Like most people are like, oh my God, I literally can't remember. Yeah, it's like, like white static noise.
Exactly.
It's just sort of these weird forgettable, or the times when you feel drained afterwards, which are the regrettable. And as you're saying that, I'm like, wow, the one that comes to mind for me is a YouTube video I watched of Jack Conte, who's the CEO.
I love him.
Oh
yeah.
my God, talking about creativity. And I was like, this is one of the best talks I've ever heard. And it stuck with me for over a month now. But then
Wow.
so many other videos are just honestly,
Going.
nothing.
Yeah, and I think for me that's the thing, you know. I mean, you can be famous and like create memorable minutes, and that's okay. I think. Go
So
ahead.
I'm curious how you would encourage someone to embrace craft over fame. And what I mean by that is, or over virality. When I was starting in this space 10 months ago, there were a lot of coaches I talked to or YouTube videos I watched that were like, here is the exact formula of how to go viral. And to your point, it's like everyone's using the same hooks,
Boring.
the same cuts, whatever. And people were like, that's how you do it. And I was like, I just don't want to do it that way. And they were like, then you're not going to grow. And I was like, well, I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Yeah, but I hate growth. Like
Yeah.
that word, I mean, I went to like content creator, I went to extinguish that because I think that's the thing, like it drives you to this place of growth. I need to grow, I need to grow. Yeah, for what? To do what? What comes after? Like
To get your sugar brandies.
Yeah, but like
daddies.
yeah, just like you're gonna create content and somebody's gonna notice you. I mean, is that your big plan? And then when it happens, what happens is that you don't have a plan, and then you have like a big hit. You win, you get $2 million, which is again very good. But also, I mean, it's just that, and then you go back to doing. So, I think being a creator. I don't really like the word talent now that we're saying like words that we're gonna extinguish in the creator economy. I don't really like talent because I think it kind of like everybody has a talent. Talent's just like out there. People have talents, different talents, you know. And when you like call creators only talent, I think it strips them from the agency like of owning that. It kind of infantilizes them. Oh, this is the talent. It's gonna come here and do his little thing, like a little monkey, you know. And I'm sorry.
I love that. No, I think that's really true. I think I saw you wrote something about like being a creator is now inherently being a business, or like you need to sort of be.
Yeah.
And I
And I think it's about that. I understand that you don't need to be the person running your business, but you gotta understand it. You gotta know what's happening. You gotta sit on the table, like to make the decisions. You gotta know like how people are selling you, what they're selling, because if you think about it, the end game, like where we want to get is to the audience, right? We are the brands, like we call it the audience, community. I mean, people around it, people that are like reading your content, watching your content, consuming your content. So in the end, it's all about them, and who is the person that knows their audience the better? It's not like the operators; they can help you operate, but I think a lot of like the business creativity, you know, will come from the creator. You don't need to sit on the table and negotiate and leave it to the adults, you know. But I mean, people that know that they have that skill, you know. But I think you need to sit on the table to understand. I mean, what kind of products can you push to your audience? You know them, you know, like why they read you. You don't have like those salesperson, like they're not on your comment section, like reading, like getting those feedbacks, you know, the way I used to get in my events, you know, like why are people here? Why do they consume my content, you know? So what is it? Is it like an emotional function? Like, is it like a practical thing? I mean, I'm going to learn how to code.
right.
You know, there's a very good example of this, like the value that people are getting out of your content with this creator. She's called Ask Cat GPT.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
And
Yeah.
she just launched, she talks about GPT, so about AI, and she just launched the landline phone.
Love. I think I saw one video about this. Yeah.
I think it's freaking genius, you know, if you think of it, because okay, she talks about creators. So what do you think she should launch? A class, an ebook, you
Right.
know, anything that help people like understand ChatGPT's, AI's, LLMs, and no, she created a phone. And why is that? Because what she's talking about in her content is not like AI. Like the value that people are getting from her is like having agency over technology, like really owning their relationship to technology. And having a landline phone is that, because it's kind of cute. It connects. I bought one. I'm still waiting for so it connects to your phone through Bluetooth, and then you can take your calls on the phone, on the landline phone, you know. It's
Yeah.
freaking amazing.
Also so like nostalgic and just touches on, you know, a very
So many
particular,
things.
yeah.
Yes. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think the creator is the person that's going to know that.
Yes. Okay. So, I mean, this is interesting because I want to loop us back to this concept of advice for new creators. So I'm curious if you have any insight about, you've obviously seen the economy pretty intimately for the last 20 years. Do you have any sense of where you think things are going and what the framing for that is, if there's a new creator, like somebody who this year is jumping in, what should they be thinking about in addition to craft and community?
Planning, strategy, really, really understand what you want to do with this audience, and really stress on format. Like, how are you gonna get your message through? Because right now, again, I think everything's super boring. We're either doing like the 90 seconds, like green screen thing. Everybody's doing the same thing, and the few ones that are really creating that repeatable like format, they're standing out. So think about like hot takes or hot ones, or everything else that's out there. I think people lack format. So on top of everything that we said, like planning, strategize, understand the funnel, where people are going, own your audience, do the craft, understand the job to be done, work around it, create the business around it. I think you really, really, really need, like, if we're going to be tactical, have a format that's yours, man. Everything's so boring, because if you cut the head of a person and putting in the body of another, it's just like the same thing.
You're so right. You know who I love? Have you seen the We Love You guys? It's like two guys in the woods, and they're like, hey man.
Oh, they're so cute.
Oh,
yeah.
they're like my favorite. But I think they're a great example. And back to that MediChat conference we went to, it was Colin and Samir. This has really stuck with me from that. They walked through, and they're famous YouTubers if you're not familiar with them, and creators. And they were talking about, I think it was like the 3 or 5 things you should know within the creator world. One of which was like, create content that's repeatable.
Yeah.
Don't reinvent the wheel the whole time, but create content that's repeatable, but your own.
Your own. For me, ownership is everything. Own your audience, own your freaking format, own your business. I think everything kind of comes from that, because I think people are starting this creator economy field without intention. For me, it's all comes down to intention. Know why are you doing this? Where are you going to get? What's your plan? What does success look like? And then I think everything will like be better. Like, and format is intention. If you're doing like something that's repeatable, people
like
recognize. No, I think it's your signature. I love it. I really do. I was excited because I knew we were going to do confetti.
Everyone gets excited for that part. They're like, let's do this.
It's like, we don't do confetti anymore. Everything is so serious.
I know.
And dark. And I mean, we need this. I mean, I'm a goth, but even so, I think we need that color. So I think if we do that, if we give that to the people, they will connect. It's just true. I mean, we're seeing that.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who is a favorite self coach, and she has this whole idea of like, how do you, instead of tapping into, in the spiritual world, they talk all the time about like higher self, future self, whatever, it drives me crazy. Favorite self, just like in this moment, what would your favorite self do? And I think that actually really links to a lot of what I wish more creators would tap into versus just following the trends. Yeah. Because I mean, I touch both ends here, because if you're completely new to the space, very nervous, it's so intimidating to enter. So if following trends makes you feel safe to just build up the confidence on camera, great. But finding your own voice within that, or just being yourself, like, I think that's...
Yeah, but the cool. Be yourself is cool, but it's also very tricky.
Oh yeah,
because a lot of people don't know how to be themselves. Like, I was remembering when we were in school, like if the teacher would give you like an essay with a theme, was so much easier than without it. Like, just create something out of the blue from your head. I'm like,
yeah,
no,
that's
please
really true.
Tell me what do I need to talk about? So I do like the thing about like following trends, so you can get like familiar and more comfortable, etc. But I think you gotta jump into like, because going back to Mr. Beast, the thing is, I think what worked for him is like he studied it, what was good, what was going viral. I mean, whatever his goal was, and he created on top of that. He didn't just copy the format, Yeah. So I think that's also, if you really want to do, you have the intention, intentionality. Again, you gotta study a bit.
I love it.
I don't think I'm gonna start doing something and then it's gonna happen. Yeah. I mean, only if it's a hobby. I mean, and actually, not everything needs to be a business.
Yeah,
it can be just like a self-expression thing, or like an activism thing, or just like a hobby, or just something whatever that fulfill your heart. I don't know. It's okay too. We can't exist online without everything being so like, we gotta grow again. I mean, I think that kind of pressure. remove that from the
Yeah.
table, just let's start.
Huh. I love this. I don't know if you know this, but I took a sabbatical this year for 6 months and I did this self-led creator MBA because I was like so dead set on learning this space and I hadn't taken time off in my adult life. And I was like, I feel really called to this. And so I set up for myself, in addition to joining the Lighthouse, which we're sitting in right now, which had a slew of workshops and classes, and I went to every single one.
I love.
Yes,
Shout out to the Lighthouse.
shout out to we love the Lighthouse. Signed up for like a bunch of other classes, and my main goal, but I didn't realize it when I started this journey. I thought I was learning how to become a creator. I was actually learning how to be myself, which is the first time I recorded a solo podcast, and I was sitting alone in a room, just staring at a camera, and like, there's no one else for me to attune to or jump off their energy. I was like, who am I when I'm alone in a room talking? Like, I have no idea.
People.
I'm like,
Fuck my leg.
yeah, I'm like, I don't forget how to breathe or function. So I think that is, for me, as somebody who trained as a coach and briefly as a therapist, I actually think it's a really cool healing tool for like via self-expression for people to just figure out who they are. And
This is amazing. And I'm going to tell you, maybe you don't even have to publish it.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think just making it alone is really powerful.
Yeah. I might try that.
Yeah.
I think I need maybe do more video. I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to close this out with one question that you posed earlier. What is your definition of success?
For my kid and everybody that's with us now, I don't have one definition. I just think it has to be true to yourself and be energizing and make you creative. I mean, that's my experience, like money's good.
Money's good. Being able to
It's
pay for your
a-
life is nice.
yeah. But I think there's so much more like to success than money, because money you can it can be the wrong motivation for success. It's good, but for me it's like the conclusion, not the end game. It's just something that comes. I think fulfilling purpose for me, like leaving a legacy, helping people out. I mean, for me, it was always more like a metric of my success than just the money, because the money is mine, but all of the rest is for shared, So I like things. I mean, hippie again. Sorry.
No, it really doesn't come across that hippie. I'm like, you just have I have an image of a figure 8 often in my head, but I'm like, you're bringing stuff in so that you can feed it back out and kind of create
That's
this
the
really
loop,
beautiful
yeah.
loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Beautiful business.
Beautiful business. Oh, that's a great phrase. I like that.
But that's not mine. Actually,
Okay.
there's a very cool event and community called the House of Beautiful Business. Best events ever. They
Excellent
have a
name.
book and they say, I'm just going to close with it. They say, I read the first line of the book is, not everything needs to be a business, but all business needs to be beautiful or should be beautiful. I freaking agree. Confetti.
Confetti. Love it. Bia, thank you so much for being
Thank you.
here.
I love
This has been
this.
so joyful. You are so knowledgeable, and it's also just very obvious how passionate you are about this space and your work. So I'm honored to sit with you.
I'm honored. Thank you so much.